Welcome back to a brand new episode of the Bold American Podcast presented by Barstool Sports. Very big show, a lot of topics to get to today. We're going to be talking about the U.S. and Venezuela, the tension that's growing there as we continue to blow up boats that are potentially carrying narcotics on their way to the United States. The Pentagon is seeing a lot of tension with regards to access for journalists and the changes that are being made for the press access in the Pentagon. Speaking of that press, the Washington Post had a story claiming that veterans are starting or have been for a while defrauding the VA disability system. Danny Ocean, I don't know if you guys are fans of the Ocean's movies, but Danny Ocean and his gang stole some jewels from the Louvre in France. So let's chat about that. And then finally, we're going to talk about the McDonald CEO and a statement that he made with regards to the food there at McDonald's. And all of that is going to be brought to you by our pals at Boll and Branch. Listen, it is October 20th as we're recording, October 21st as you're listening. A lot of parts of the country, we're starting to make that turn into the colder weather. I feel like we're there. I don't feel like we're going to regress back into the 70s and 80s here in the Northeast like we did last year. It felt like it was 75, 80 degrees until Thanksgiving, and even then it didn't even feel like it was cold. But anyway, with colder temperatures, you got to make sure you are comfy, cozy. Comfort is needed. Boll and Branch's signature sheets are the perfect way to start building your sanctuary. They're buttery soft to start, and they get softer with every wash. Who doesn't like that? Because obviously you got to wash your sheets really quickly. How often do you guys wash your sheets?
Once a week.
Rob?
Once a week. I wasn't ready for that question, but yes, once a week. Okay. Also, Boll and Branch, also fucking amazing bed materials. I love it. I was sleeping in it last night, this morning, whatever you want to say, but so good.
They're the best sheets I've ever had. By far.
We all have them, and we are all sleeping well because of them, because they're breathable.
It's worth the extra penny. It really is. Like that, the satin, like the sheet is so legit.
Mm-hmm. How often do you wash your sheets, Connor?
Once a week as well.
There we go.
Some things that people like to do, if you're like me, and this is a little harder now with two kids, I like to keep my home colder, even as we get into like December, January, February. But with young kids, I don't get like too ridiculous. Like growing up, I mean, it would be December and our thermostat would be 62 in my house growing up. It was ridiculous, but we didn't mind it, and I actually enjoyed it. But what do you do when the house is cold, or when you're cold outside? You put on more layers. But then when you go to bed, it's a pain in the ass because then you're like super hot. But Boll and Branch, they have breathable sheets, so you can have all those fall layers on, and you're not going to get heavy and sweaty in your bed. They are made with the highest quality, 100% organic cotton in durable designs. And now they have new fall colors for deeply comforting bedroom. All right. So listen, start building your sanctuary of comfort this fall with Boll and Branch. Get 20% off your first set of sheets plus free shipping and returns at bollandbranch.com/bold. I know that's a mouthful, but bollandbranch.com/bold. That's Boll and Branch, BOLLAND branch.com/bold to take 20% off. Exclusions apply. But listen, just go do it. You're going to be happy that you did. Boll and Branch. All right. Let's jump into the show. We haven't all been together in a while, which, life comes at you and making some changes, and just it's the way scheduling works out sometimes. But we're all back. Last 72. Ryan, I feel like I always start with you. So, Rob, why don't we start with you?
All right. I did something really fucking boring, but I cleaned my house for about 6 hours on Saturday with college football in the background.
You sandwiched your house.
Bro, like maybe top 3 feeling as you get older. Like my house is pretty clean. I'm very like control freakish with like the children's room, the kitchen, like the common room. We had our friends over, Zach and Laura. Before that, I got nasty with the cleaning, and it's like it I don't know what it is. Is it getting older? But like, it just feels so fucking good. And then like, it's still so clean. It's Monday night. I'm recording this and the sun's setting, and like, I can see on like my tile floors just how clean everything still is. The kitchen countertops, my living room, like there's no dust. Like, it's almost like, I don't know. It's not sexual, but it's kind of there, man. It's like a really good feeling when like your house is spotless and you have kids, because you're like, yo, I'm putting in the effort and my shit is clean. Like anyone can come over right now, just take the shoes off, we're good. You know, we're on a good start there. But no, man, that was it. Healthy weekend. Clean the house a little bit. It was amazing.
Can we talk about that for a second? Because we both have kids and they're basically the same age, Rob. And I don't know how your house is, but we just have stuff. Now, we try to keep majority of Maggie's stuff down in her playroom. But, you know, we're not going to keep everything down there. She has a couple baskets of toys. She has 2 baskets of toys that are in our living room and like a little mini table off of our kitchen table. So she has stuff. And when she gets going, it can go everywhere. But I will not go to bed at night. My wife will not go to bed at night and just leave that all over the ground. To each their own. You know, if you have kids and you leave stuff all over the house, I don't know how you do it. I would never do that. But I'm with you. I can't relax if I see just stuff.
It's stressful. It's like
it's mental health. Like
it is.
You feel differently when you have your stuff organized. Like when things are put away, it is
especially like now, Ryan, to your point, like we talked about this in the last episode, but like when we're all so busy, an extra clean or like organized home will do wonders for like your thought process, especially when you wake up in the morning. This sounds so stupid, but Admiral McRaven, shout out to Navy guy, he even said, make your bed as soon as you wake up and it'll set the tone for your day. I've been listening and preaching that. Like
I do it every day.
I make
my bed every day. Yeah.
Make your bed with bowl and branch.
Well, the other thing too, I don't know about you guys, but like the bed feels more comfortable when you get into a made bed versus just a messy bed.
Yeah, totally.
And anyone who says otherwise, I think is just a child and undisciplined.
Yeah, but like having a clean house really sets the tone. Like that sounds so cheesy and fucking corny, but it's so true. It's so true. But that was it. Uneventful weekend, really low key. Got a lot of work done. Just excited to see your 2 beautiful faces on a Monday night.
Yeah. Ryan, quickly, because your children, they live in your house still, are older. Are they messy, or do they know, hey, this is how the house has to be kept, or do they do chores, or what's the deal?
Yeah, I mean, I have a 17-year-old and an 11-year-old. You know, my oldest is in college. 17-year-old, she does her own thing. She doesn't do chores necessarily, but she does her own laundry. You know, so she takes care of that. She still puts her dishes in the sink when I'm like, put them in the dishwasher. But my 11-year-old he's still a kid. So I've got army guys, much to my dismay that he calls them army guys, but I have like little army guys everywhere. I step on them all the time. Like, no, he's kind of dirty, but he will participate. Like if I ask him to take out the trash, he'll take out the trash. If I ask him to take the dogs for a walk, he does it like kind of enthusiastically. He appreciates like being helpful, but he does leave little Legos and army guys all over the place. So I'm still in that phase too. I'm still dealing with it.
Yeah.
Are you guys shoes off or on when you have guests over?
We're on because I just can't we're a shoes on house. As much as I wish we weren't, we just don't.
So we're a shoes off house. But when people come over, unless it's raining outside and like messy, I'm like, you don't have to take your shoes off. It's fine. Like we have hardwood floors, we have rugs, but I don't know. There's something about asking guests and listen, again, if you ask your guests to take their shoes off, if I go to someone's house and like, hey, can you take your shoes off? I don't make a stink about it. It's fine. It doesn't bother me. But I don't know. We just never ask our guests, hey, can you
because you're coming over to your house. Like if I'm coming over to your house, I'm getting dressed and the shoes are part of my outfit. And then it's like, take your shoes off. And you're like, wait, I don't love that, but I get it. Again, I wish I was that kind of person, but I'm
also,
always like, don't take your shoes off. Don't take your shoes off. Nobody takes your shoes
but
off.
like, let's think about this too. Like as adults, you know, you're not coming over to my house after you just went on a trail run and you have sneakers on and they're full of mud, right? You're wearing shoes that are clean, that you walked on, pavement and presumably not through dog poop or gum, and you're not tracking stuff. Yes. Is there dirt on the ground? Yes, there's dirt on the ground, but I can mainly clean that up, that I'm going to be cleaning, the house anyway. So I guess that's
good germs. It's good germs for your kids. That's how I look at it.
Yeah.
For the young.
Yeah. Ones. It's dependent on like what the gathering is. Like we're shoes off. Like I have my Hey Dude house shoes, another nice little sponsored ad there. But, when we have maybe more than a few people over, it's definitely shoes on. But people are like really respectful. Like shout out to Zach and Laura, our kids' godparents. They came over, they just took the shoes off immediately. And I'm just like, I never even asked, but like people are just very like in tune with us having children. So they just immediately like walk in and they're like shoes off, like to be respectful, which is like really cool. Cause like, I don't know. It's just funny how like people just do it automatically. But when we go to people's homes and stuff, we're always like shoes on. Like, what's the vibe? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, I always ask.
Yeah.
Really quickly though, Ryan, I have to admit, my mom did my laundry till I left the house. I never did laundry. I got to college.
So did my mom.
One of my teammates had to teach me how to do laundry. I didn't know. I was legit in the dark.
I had to be taught how to do my laundry too when I went to college. And I so appreciate that both my girls, by the time they were 13, 14 years old, like they started doing their own laundry, and it's awesome. Yeah. It's awesome.
So I don't know. I guess we'll cross that bridge when we get there in terms of who's going to do the laundry in our house. Obviously, we do our children's laundry now, but we'll see if that changes. Ryan, last 72. I feel like you were traveling, right?
I was traveling. So I was actually out in, I was in San Diego. And I was in San Diego first.
A whale's vagina.
Doing some a little bit of press to promote my new children's book.
Let's talk about that. Oh my goodness.
I ordered one. Cons. Did you get one?
No, not yet. Cause I actually wanted to, I can ask you right now. When I know people who write books, I like to have them sign it and they can add a note or whatever. But
I'm gonna sign it, but you're gonna order a pre-sale copy, and then I'll get you another signed copy. But please order one on pre-sale. But open for pre-sale right now. The launch is November 24th. The book was put out through Jocko Publishing. I've been working on it for about a year. It's called Things My Brother Used to Say, and it's lessons in how to live a life of character from things my brother taught me growing up. And I'm super excited about it. It is still trending #1 in children's books on Amazon, #1 bestseller in children's books. 24 hours in, it was already at #1.
So dope.
Yeah, I'm super excited about it. So thank you to everybody that has already pre-ordered. It's awesome.
You're welcome.
And all the proceeds are going back to the Travis Manning Foundation too. I think that's important to note.
So we're not trying to sell books to get you another shore house.
No, I'm not trying to get rich off my children's book. I want to make sure that it's going back to support the work we do at TMF.
That's fantastic. What was the genesis for this?
Well, really, we started like a lot of times when I'm talking, I talk about, like, I always talk about things my brother taught me growing up, right? And so obviously there's the largest one, which is If Not Me, Then Who, which kind of came later in life. But there were so many bedrock things that Travis used to say to me when we were really young. And I was like, and it was actually through conversation, someone said, hey, have you ever thought about writing a children's book? Because I put out a book in 2019, The Knock at the Door. And so, and I'll tell you, writing a children's book is not easy. When I put my first draft in, because I am a writer, I was an English major in college. I love to write. That they kind of came back. The publisher came back and said, yeah, this is a children's book. Like,
you're going too deep.
So so you have to really tailor it to kids. And, I talk about Travis losing his life in this children's book. And that's a sensitive thing. Like, how do you present that to, school age children? And so, but I'm really proud of it, and it's gotten great response so far. And I'm just super excited for it to be in everybody's hands. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, I think that is very, very cool. And it's a cool concept to teach profound lessons, but in such a simple way that you can speak to a child about it. And I think that's what makes the lessons so great, is that they're not overly complicated, right? They don't need to be overly complicated. If I can teach you to a child, then wow, the basis for being a good person is pretty simple in theory. So that's very cool. But I also was thinking, because, obviously again, Rob and I are in the same stage where we're reading these children's books all the time to our kids. And you would think like, oh, that's easy. Like they're like 12 pages and there's, I don't know, like 40 words total. But then you get into some of these and you realize, all right, that's actually a pretty in-depth lesson here that's being conveyed through this book. So that's very cool.
Well, my book is 64 pages. So it's definitely for your kids' age. You're going to have to read it to them, you know? It's something, you know, it may take you a couple nights to read it, but
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Do they tell you, did the publisher tell you like, all right, let's try to gear this towards this age group? Or is it just like anything under 10 or whatever?
I mean, it's on Amazon. It says 6 and up, you know, a 6-year-old probably won't be able to read it. Well, won't be able to read it on their own. But you know, we wanted to make it applicable for parents to read to their kids or for, you know, a 3rd, 4th, 5th grader to be able to read it to themselves. So, yeah, I'm super excited about it. And then, so that's out, again, available for pre-sale. And then this weekend, I traveled to Chicago. My best friend, Amy Looney, her husband, just retired after 22 years in the Secret Service, 28 years overall in service to our country, between the Marine Corps and the Secret Service. And he worked 2 administrations, one with Obama and then right into the Trump administration, and then was out in the Chicago field office for many years. And it was just so amazing to, you know, after 28 years of service, and she had a big party for him, and having all these Secret Service agents there just talking about like what he's given back to this country. And you know, he's only 50 years old, so he's got a whole second career in front of him. But it was just super awesome to be witness to see how much he gave in service. And, you know, you don't think about it, but when you're, you know, I didn't think about it in that perspective until I was there listening to the other agents talk about, you know, how big of an impact he had to the Secret Service over the last 22 years. So it was pretty awesome. Yeah.
That is very cool. And that's also crazy to think, all right, now he's just going to go do something else for you know, 10, 15, maybe 20 years.
Yeah. He's got a whole career in front of him, you know?
I mean, nowadays for sure he could go. I mean, I have some friends, some West Point friends, even Connor, who are in the private security game here in Vegas. And I mean, it's quite lucrative. It's your own.
He got a pretty good gig. Let me just put it that way.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like corporate security. Like when I was at Amazon, like the security team that was in charge of the CEO, Andy Jassy and Adam Silipsky. I mean, those guys were all former Rangers, former SEALs. One guy was actually a conventional guy, former MP officer, and they're making like really, really good 6-figure cash, and they're having the time of their life just traveling around protecting one person. So there's so much more to life after you get out of the Secret Service or government service.
Yeah. So
Secret Service, they have a pension, right? He has a pension.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Retirement. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and I mean, I think the biggest thing for me was watching, you know, Amy is my best friend, and her first husband was my brother's best friend who was killed in Afghanistan. And
okay.
You know, she went through the loss of her husband, Brendan.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
That's why the name sounded so familiar.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right.
So, and then ended up marrying a Marine who was in the Secret Service. And, you know, one of the things I said to them this past weekend, and he actually said it when he spoke, like what she did to help me be able to do what I did. And like the sacrifices she's made as a 2-time spouse, you know, with her first husband and then with her husband she's currently married to. It's just, it's so admirable. And I'm just so, you know, I'm so proud to be her friend, and I'm just in awe of everything she has sacrificed. So, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's impressive. And I think it's just so funny, and we're close to it, so we know, but spouses are just always forgotten about.
Yeah.
Like, people don't realize like how difficult it is. Like I think about friends of mine that are still serving, and now they've been through, I don't know, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 moves with their spouse and children. And I asked Alex all the time, like, do you think you would have enjoyed being married to me when I was in the Army? She's like, no shot.
Yeah.
So it's not for everybody. So it really is you need a special sort of individual to be able to do that. So good for her.
Yeah.
And I have to imagine she's happy because whatever his next gig is, I have to imagine it's probably slightly less dangerous than,
Yes.
than what he was doing in the Secret Service. So good for him.
Yep.
Really quickly, I don't have much in terms of my last 72. Alex was on a bachelorette party, so
how did solo dad go?
It was good. My mom came up actually, which was
Okay.
nice because she's only 45 minutes away, and it's a reason for her to see the kids.
Yeah.
And then
So not solo dad. You brought reinforcements in.
I want to level set something. Listen, that was not because I can't do it. I've done it before, and I am capable of doing it. But if you can get help, why not get help?
I agree.
So
Yeah.
that's where I was at. And as I was saying, it allows my mom to spend time with the kids, which she obviously enjoys. So, and Mac is too young right now, but Maggie has a great relationship with my mom, and she gets excited to see her. So it was nice to be able to spend some time with her and the kids. And then from there, Alex got back Saturday morning, and Saturday and Sunday were largely uneventful. We did some thing in downtown. There was some event, some fall family event. There was not much of an event, but relaxing weekend. So we can just say that. Good. But awesome. Let's get into it because some people are not relaxed right now, and they're not. Let's start with
a lot of people. I mean, Saturday was kind of relaxing for some of us. Apparently there was a giant protest for no kings, whatever the fuck. I was like, how do people have time for this shit?
Well, I mean, that's what they believe, and that's how they want to spend their Saturday. I mean, some
that's
people
true.
might look at us at, spending a Saturday like
watching Army.
Watch football all day Saturday and all day Sunday, and they think that's stupid. So if that's how I would not want to spend my Saturday at a protest, but if you believe in something and want to protest,
true.
First Amendment, that's what, one of the great parts of the country. So have at
it. Kid.
Anyway. But let's start with the story with the U.S. and Venezuela because things are kind of heating up. And just bear with me. I'm going to read some bullet points here that I have prepared just to kind of bring everybody up to speed. So the U.S. has significantly ramped up its military presence in the southern Caribbean region near Venezuela, citing concerns about drug trafficking and narco-terrorist activity. And we've all seen the videos of the boats getting blown up that are being posted by official government accounts, social media accounts on our end. So the U.S. has conducted several military strikes on maritime vessels near Venezuela, calling them drug smuggling operations. Venezuela not happy. They're strongly condemning them as illegal acts of aggression. So going back to September, the U.S. announced a strike on a vessel in the southern Caribbean, allegedly trafficking from Venezuela, killing 11 people. Venezuela responded by requesting an emergency session of the United Nations Security Council, accusing the U.S. of violating international law and Venezuelan sovereignty. Because obviously you can't just run around just killing people from other countries without any reasons. But the U.S. is saying well, no, we have our reasons. We're stopping these drug cartels from running drugs from Venezuela through the Caribbean up into the United States. So we have deployed advanced assets, including warships and aircraft, and said it is non-international armed conflict with drug trafficking organizations in the region and not Venezuela. Venezuela responded by ordering new military exercises and mobilizing militia forces. Let's see. And listen, the U.S. is saying not only is this drug cartels, but now they're using the Venezuelan military to shield these drug trafficking cartels under the guise of, I don't know, that they're just doing exercises or things of that nature that they're allowed to be doing. And so we're caught in a little bit of a conundrum here because the U.S. military strikes on vessels in or near Venezuelan waters are being viewed by a lot of people as violations of state sovereignty under the UN Charter, which is Article 2. which is justified by self-defense, or UN authorization, neither of which has been formally invoked. The U.S. justification, as I said, these are drug traffickers, and it falls under domestic counter narcotics authority, but not clear if that's international. Legal grounds, the UN has not authorized force in Venezuelan territory or waters. So the U.S. has a burden of proof that these boats were engaged in imminent hostile acts against the United States. So just it's a tricky situation. It's a very gray area. But just curious what you guys are viewing on this story.
I mean, I think we've reached a point where we can't treat like these cartels as just a drug issue. I think it's a national security issue. I think that we've been talking about this for a long time. This isn't just like drugs moving in. This is people. This is weapons. This is a national security threat. So I personally have no issue with what is happening. You're seeing this footage. Like, if you look at, and I don't want to be quoted wrong, but I think, if you look at the number of people that are dying from like opioids that are coming from these places, like that's the number one killer of Americans right now, right? Is this fentanyl and opioid crisis. And it's coming from outside. It's coming from these places. And, so I'm fully aligned with what we're doing personally.
Yeah. Venezuela is they're essentially a narco state. So you have this guy in charge, Maduro, who's letting all these gangs and cartel members from Tren de Agua basically roam free, do whatever they want because they're anti-American. And they're, to Ryan's point, they're creating a lot of turmoil in our own country with drugs, weaponry, human trafficking, sex trafficking, all this stuff. They're trying to create a lot of noise. And they're pretty much sponsored by the Maduro regime. We are not aligned with that regime. We do not like those guys. It's very clear. We want that guy out. And so we're taking care of business that's a little closer to Venezuelan shores than our own to kind of get in front of it. And I think, going to some marketing speak here, it's almost like an A/B test. We're trying to see what the reactions are. We're trying to see how far we can push it, because I think the US government might be doing this at some point in the future against other terrorist narco cartel activity elsewhere south of the border. So I'm actually in line with it. I think it's important. I think these are all bad dudes. They're terrorists. They want to create havoc in America. They're supported by the Venezuelan state. Take them out and try to be as precise as possible, unlike previous administrations and some work we've done in the past. So that's the only red flag I see. It's murky waters. Also, the administration knows that they don't really care what the international outcry is. But I'm aligned with what they're doing.
Well, first of all, I think what people forget sometimes is you see how things happen in our country, and yes, there's crime in our country, but by and large, there's law and order. Whereas so many other countries across the world are run by these militias and cartels, and the government maybe kind of turns a blind eye, or the government is working hand in hand, and that's just part of their economy and their culture and their way of life, and they've accepted that. And we're essentially saying, no, you guys are just hiding behind all these technicalities and laws that the UN have put forth. And listen, I do agree that we should have these laws so that countries are not just running around all over the world attacking one another and just chaos breaking out. So those laws need to be in place. But seems to me, from the details that we have and the data that we have and the historical data that we have, that the U.S. is pretty justified in what we're doing. And if we're getting a little too close to Venezuelan shores, in theory, then, we could broker a conversation with Venezuela leadership and government. But if they're working with these drug cartels, it's almost as if you throw your hands up and say, what's the point? Because they're just going to pay us a bunch of lip service, tell us what we want to hear, so we stop doing this, and then go back to continuing to protect their drug cartels running drugs to the United States. And it's a slippery slope and a little bit of a murky situation. But at the same time, given, as Ryan said, the problem that drugs are in this country, we got to do something differently, right? We can't just, I'm not a proponent of, insanity, doing the same thing and expecting a different result. Like if it means that we're going to cut these heads off the snake at the point of origin, all right, well then so be it. So I think it scares people because, they're alleging that there are innocent people being killed in these attacks. And if that's the case, then I don't
Wait. Where did you see that? Where did you see?
I've seen reports that innocent civilians are being
that's
killed collaterally.
That's not confirmed though. That's not.
I just said these are reports. I didn't say they were confirmed or not confirmed.
Okay.
But I think, you know what? That's a great point though, Ryan. Like, but there's also, it's like none of this can really be confirmed. Like, Venezuela is saying, well, we're not helping these drug cartels. We're alleging that they are. And maybe we have intel from our sources that say that they are helping their own people. Their government are helping their own people to do illegal activity. So, I'm in favor of keeping drugs out of this country. And if that means doing things a little differently than they've been done in the past, I'm okay with that. And let's deal with the repercussions from the UN. And I don't want it to sound like I'm saying, shoot first, ask questions later. But I want to give our country the benefit of the doubt that we're just not crushing these boats out of the sky willy-nilly because we're bored on a Tuesday.
I don't think that's happening. I don't think that's
what's the UN going to do? I mean, we finance their fucking headquarters downtown Manhattan. I mean, the repercussions from the UN would probably just be like them tweeting how upset they are that Secretary of War just killed, 11 narco terrorists. Like, they're kind of a joke. And I think this should put more cartels, more gangs, more terrorists on check, on notice. Like, we'll hit you. Like, stop fucking with America.
Yeah, stop bringing drugs. So, I'm largely.
I think we're all aligned here, guys. I think we're all in agreement.
I think it's probably for the best that we keep drugs out of this country. Yeah. So, all right, moving on. We've seen the last, week or so, there's been a lot of hullabaloo coming from the Pentagon because Secretary Hegseth has decided to change the rules for journalists. So there's going to be new rules limiting building access and require an escort at all times for journalists. Journalists are saying, well, this is against journalistic integrity and you're trying to stifle us. And Secretary Hegseth and the rest of the administration is saying, well, no, you can report on things, but we're not going to just let you roam the building free. So, the big stink is like, they don't want people trying to solicit unauthorized information anymore, like trying to get officials to leak info. So they put out this, agreement and
I think it was like a memorandum. Yeah.
Memorandum. Okay. A memorandum of understanding potentially to say like, hey, this is how things are going to be from now on. Please acknowledge that you've received this and you understand that this is how we're going to operate going forward. So, a lot of people signed, a lot of people did not sign. A lot of people that did not sign are traditional heavy hitters in
most major news outlets did not sign.
ABC, CBS, NBC, CNN, Fox News, AP, Reuters, Bloomberg, New York Times, Washington Post, Guardian, Wall Street Journal, Axios, Politico, Atlantic, Breaking Defense, Task and Purpose. They all said,
TMP. What about Bold American? Where do we sign or not sign?
So, what do you guys think about this?
I honestly, the information I have that everything I've read seems to make sense of like, I've been in the Pentagon several times. I can't walk around without an escort. Why would you be able to walk around without an escort? But it is concerning that most major news outlets didn't sign. So I'm like, what am I missing here? So,
good point.
Yeah.
That's a good point. It's like, well, the argument's, being made on the other side, like, well, you're trying to stifle and that's not journalism. But I agree with you. Anytime I've been to the Pentagon, And for those who have never been inside that building, there's a whole process that they have to screen you. You go through security, and then you don't just like stroll around. First of all, because you probably get lost because it's a ridiculous building.
It's ridiculously huge. Yeah.
It's massive. But secondly, and maybe more important, is you shouldn't just be walking around in the Pentagon and listen.
And there's only a certain part that I actually looked at the detailed map. It's not even like you can't walk around without an escort. It's just like a certain part that they blocked off of the Pentagon. Right. So
yes. And also listen, it's not like there's, all these ridiculous secrets happening in every room and every conference room. It's all this top secret stuff. But I mean, just think about it. Like, what's preventing Russia from sending someone over here? Okay, bear with me. They get them hired at the Washington Post. They have an American passport, and they start writing for the Washington Post, and they get put on the Pentagon beat, and then they're going to the Pentagon, they're walking around, and they're feeding information back to Russia, and who knows what they have access to or what they don't have access to. It's just a shame that, to me, it sounds like common sense. And again, I'm biased because, as I said, I've been to the Pentagon. It makes sense that you wouldn't just be able to walk around willy-nilly around there. But it seems to me it's like, all right, people don't like Secretary Hegseth, and they think Secretary Hegseth and President Trump are trying to just be annoying for the sake of being annoying because they can. And they're saying it's just common sense. So, and similar to the last story, I don't believe, because I've also heard these journalists say like, well, this is just how we've always had this access. It's like, doesn't make it right. Maybe we should have tightened the screws a long time ago, just because you used to be able to just walk around and chat with people. And I'm all for people and journalists developing relationships with people in leadership so they can develop rapport and do better reporting. But again, the idea that you could just walk around by yourself all because you have a press pass, I don't know. That doesn't sit great with me. Or maybe go ahead.
Well, no, I think you bring up a really interesting point because, I served as township supervisor for 12 years. And so when I was first elected and I got in there and, it's basically you're running the town, you're in charge of public safety, roads, bridges, anything you can think of. Right. And I was young and I got in there and I started asking questions. And the answer I'd always get was, well, that's the way we've always done it. And I'm like, but that doesn't mean that that's the way it should be done. And so when I started to say, hey, that doesn't make sense, we should think about it this way, I got a lot of pushback. And every time I got that answer, but that's the way we've always done it, it was like, well, then it was like, then we absolutely have to think about it a different way. And nothing infuriated me more than hearing that answer and I think in a lot of ways, our government, because I worked in local government, our federal government operates in the same way, like an administration changes, but they're focused on certain things and maybe some things are just overlooked. And it's just kind of that's the way we always done it. We've always done it. And I think this administration is like, we're not doing it that way anymore. And that ruffles feathers. It just does, Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what the process is for getting credentialed as a member of the press for the Pentagon, but in theory, like we could get credentialed and then go there, I guess.
Should we try and get credentialed?
I mean, we can. I actually wouldn't mind being credentialed, but then like I wouldn't want to. Maybe if I was working there every day, I would want a little more freedom. But yeah, I agree. I just don't like the whole. Well, that's just how we've always done it. It doesn't make it.
It doesn't entitle you, like, just because you're in the press, just because you're part of the legacy media, it doesn't entitle you to shit or access. Like, there's freedom of speech, but there's not like freedom of access, right? And it's like, think about our adversaries too. Like, okay, China, Russia, they're dictatorships. I got it. But you think they're just having like CNN, Hong Kong just stroll up to their defense ministry and just like camp out? Like,
right.
There's levels to this shit. Like, you know what? Maybe be a better journalist. Develop better sources. Figure it out.
The other thing too that I just thought about too is like, okay, this is how we always done it. Well, all right. Well, in 1970, there wasn't a way. I guess you could call someone on the phone, but I couldn't text information to my cohorts, or if I was a spy in the Pentagon, send information back instantly to whatever country I'm spying for. Whereas now, like, you can trade information at such a rapid pace that maybe we should change the rules by which these journalists have to follow. So,
I mean, look, Connor, Ryan, look how we set up this show in January, February last year. We didn't do anything in person. We figured it the fuck out. We got it launched. And in February of this year, we started a really good podcast. Like, there's ways to collect and get information and also still report and have legitimacy. And I feel like the legacy media is just upset that they don't have their card anymore and they can't go into the war room or the press room with Master Pete or whatever.
Well, but I don't know that okay, so I have a friend and she is she's on Fox News and she is my resident expert in free speech. Because that is something that she cares deeply about. Everything she says, I'm like, yes. So I actually sent her the Reuters article and I said, as my resident free speech expert, what is your take on this? And she said, I think the number of outlets that said no indicates that this is pretty overdone. I understand their concerns, but they went too far. So,
about the Pentagon, you mean, about the war secretary?
Yeah, about this topic. And
I do find it interesting too. Like, shout out to Aksam, Andalu Agency, the Australian India Globe, Al Tajir in Jordan, the one Afghan freelancer. Like, they all signed.
Well, of course they're going to say yes. Come on.
No, I kind of like the flex. I kind of like the flex how the little reporters from the foreign news agencies are like, yeah, Pete, like, do this.
No, but you're right, Ryan. I think that's a good point, that there's all the major news outlets are not signing it. So maybe we're missing something here.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, none of us, as far as I know I haven't, none of us read the memorandum, so
no, I didn't.
I'd be curious to take a further look at that. I do know the one thing about the access being taken away.
But I read the memorandum, but I'm saying, I wonder if there's more that is not out there publicly that we're not aware of, that they're worried that they're going to lose access to. So maybe someone from these news outlets can give some insight there. All right, moving on, but staying in the same realm of journalists, there is a story from the Washington Post right now that is claiming veterans are defrauding the VA disability system. Rob, you have a VA disability rating?
I do.
Okay.
I mean, it's very legit, but I can see. Let me say, I can sense that there is definitely a vibe of ways in which people are circumnavigating the system to get a quick paycheck.
Yeah. So the claim is that the veterans are exaggerating or fabricating disabilities. So they attack and say veterans are intentionally defrauding the system. And also, though, calling the system out at VA as being overwhelmed and outdated. So there are some really serious allegations that people are lying about blindness or paralysis, which that's crazy. And it's calling out guys for getting paid for ridiculous little things like acne and toe fungus. So, the VFW responded and said, and DAV said, this doesn't address how hard it can be to get approved for legitimate claims. So I have a couple things with regards to this. As it relates to the system, I think it needs to be simpler. Very, very easily said. It needs to be simpler to submit a claim and get rated for something that happened. Because for those who don't know, you have to go through a very, very lengthy and detailed process, which, listen, if you're going to get money every month for the rest of your life, I understand this can't just be like, a random questionnaire you fill out once and you get a check for the rest of your life. So it has to be thorough, but I think now it's gotten a little convoluted to where it's confusing for a lot of guys and gals. And what's interesting about veterans is that and this is true of the military too. It's like when you are presented with an obstacle, credit to the military and our service members and veterans, they all like band together and like find a way around that obstacle. So I think that's what you're seeing here, because do I think that there are veterans who are rated for things that they don't necessarily have or are a little fugazi? Yes, I do. Do I think by and large, most veterans are rated for things that they do have? Yes. So, I mean, those two things can be true, but this is not that surprising of a story. But I think both parties are at fault. The veterans who are claiming bogus stuff, but also the system that has, I don't want to say has created this monster, but in a way created this monster. So what do you guys make of this?
It continues too. Like, I know for a fact from current active duty soldiers and officers that there's a whole game and web that you kind of go through to make sure that if you don't deploy or you're not in training environments, that you still check off the block of certain appointments so that when you get out of the military, you can put in a packet to get disability pay and benefits for those appointments and for those conditions that you reported on in the military. So like, I think it's been going on for just so long. And to your point, both parties are at fault. Yeah. The military members, and then also the VA system and the doctors and the providers that are the ones to kind of take in those, the paperwork and look at those service members at those appointments and go through that process. So I don't know how you fix it.
I don't know. Ryan, what's your take as not someone who has a VA disability rating?
I do not have a VA disability rating.
No, I said, yeah.
I know. I'm joking.
Oh,
yes. Because I'm not a veteran.
Yes.
I think that this Washington Post article was a bunch of bullshit. Honestly, there is fraud and abuse in any system. And I think what it did was take away from the larger issues we have to talk about regarding the VA. And I think it, again, creates this negative connotation towards veterans that they're all like fraud, abusing the system.
Yeah, that's true.
I thought it was a bunch of bullshit. And there's so many other things that we can be talking about regarding the VA. And frankly, again, I know I'm biased, but I think the world of Secretary Collins, I think he's trying to do a lot of good. I think he's trying to change the antiquated systems that you guys talk about to make things and the processes better and more simple. And I think this article, all the things you could have written, like if you look at any large organization within this country, there's going to be fraud and abuse. This is not some insanely rampant process. Listen, I have friends who have like ridiculous disability ratings because they have tinnitus in their ears. And, after a couple drinks, I'm like, really? Like I'll have conversations with them about it. But the fact of the matter remains is that, and again, when you read that article, the Washington Post article,
didn't read it.
It doesn't have like full-blown facts around like it's just
See,
I hated it. I thought it was it really pissed me off.
See, these are the people with access at the Pentagon, right? So what the fuck are they even reporting on?
Well, they're not the Washington Post isn't. I don't know. It bothered me. I watched DAV's video. I agreed with everything DAV said. I'm not a fan. I think that was kind of they were trying to find some big,
like this big smoking gun, like everybody who has a VA disability rating is a complete liar. And if you're a civilian and you read this article, right, you're just going to come away with it and think like, oh, all these veterans are just making up stories for their disability ratings. It just
further perpetuates a stigma that we're trying to not have happen. Yes. And so,
sounds like it was more of a hit piece on this administration's like veteran affairs leadership than anything else, because like this article could have come out a year ago, right?
I mean, I don't know. Sure, it could have. I don't know if I read it in that way. Maybe there was some timeliness in when they put it out, but I don't think it. I don't think it did anything to move the needle in any way other than just putting a bad light on veterans, which
I don't
obviously
appreciate
pisses me
I don't
off.
appreciate them painting us with a broad brush, the veteran
Yeah.
community, that we're a bunch of liars. And listen, the uptick in VA claims in the last 20 years, well, we were, 2 wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. So, it makes sense that more guys and gals are going to have things that they're going to claim for disability, as opposed to, the 90s when we didn't really have a large scale, or the 80s, actually going back, we haven't had a large scale conflict since Vietnam. Well, Desert Storm, but I mean, that lasted for like 2 days. So you have to go all the way back to Vietnam to have like a large swath of veterans that would have problems. So it makes sense that the majority of our community, has some problems and some greater than others, obviously. I just think by and large, people are by the book. And if anything, there's, I think, so many veterans who they're not afraid, but they just don't want to deal with the system. So they don't put forth disability claims. I've talked to so many guys who are like, oh,
that's the bigger problem. You want to write a story? Write a story about, hey, all you veterans register with the VA, because there's nothing that Secretary Collins wants more than for every veteran to register with the VA. That's the story. But they want to put out this sensationalized bullshit that all these veterans are frauding the VA. Like it's ridiculous, So
yeah. I mean, listen, not for nothing, I could see a world where you get bit by a spider in Iraq and you have a perpetual toe fungus for the rest of your life that makes you self-conscious when you go to the pool. Listen, that's not that crazy. No, but I'm joking. But it's just there are other ways there are other parts of the story, and also not even getting into the cottage industry that has become these claim shark companies that take money out of veterans' pockets just to do their claims for them. So there's other ways to attack this story, and it's not like, hey, all veterans.
That's a good point, Connor. I think that would have showed the next level investigative progress of their story if they dove into the claim shark industry. That would have showed like their depth and knowledge of the situation, not just going after a couple Joes.
Well, it's not all claim shark industry. Maybe there's some, but there are actually good groups out there that are helping.
No,
for sure.
Listen, there are.
I'm talking about something different.
We've partnered with the VFW, and they do a great job. And I have a gentleman at the VFW that I've referred, I think, 9 or 10 vets at this point, and they've all come back. And shout out to Dale at the VFW. Dale has crushed it for so many veterans, because again, so many veterans, they're like, oh, I didn't know I could claim that. I didn't know. That's the story, that so many veterans are either A, not connected to VA, B, have not put claims that they are rightfully due, or C, that the system is so confusing that they need help in the first place. So
yeah, it comes across as intimidating to a lot of people.
Yeah. All right, moving on. A little more lighthearted. So
guys. Fuck.
Have either of you ever been to the Louvre in France, in Paris?
Yes.
Yep.
I was there last year.
I'm jealous. I walked by it, didn't go in.
What? You were in Paris and you didn't go in? What's wrong with you?
The line
we were on a tight schedule for a dinner, and it just didn't work with the itinerary. So I mean, I rationalize that with Paris is a pretty major city. I'll probably get back there at some point, and I'll get myself to the Louvre, because I love it. I don't know if I've ever actually said this publicly. I love museums, not just art museums. Basically, you give me a museum, I'll go to the museum. The Baseball Hall of Fame, College Football Hall of Fame, MoMA, Museum of Natural History, the Smithsonian, all the different iterations, the 9/11 Museum. I'm definitely talked about the 9/11 Museum. I just love museums. I am a museum guy. I have no problem going in and spending 3, 4, 5 hours in a museum. Not everyone can do that. I especially think.
Damn, Cons, you're fucking museum.
Well, you missed out not going to the Louvre, because it is a phenomenal museum. And it's funny because I know exactly, when I read the article, I know exactly
where they did it.
Where they did it, because I was just there. So I was like, holy shit.
I actually took a scooter and a moped down that same street that they escaped on, Ryan.
So anyway, really quickly, for those who didn't know, there were jewels from the Louvre that were stolen in broad daylight. It was 9:30 in the morning. There were 9 pieces of jewelry that belonged to Napoleon that were stolen. They used a cherry picker to get a window, get in a window, cut the glass to get in. Excuse me, that's a little bit of a burp. I apologize. They escaped on scooters and mopeds, and the whole thing took about 7 minutes. So it was a little bit of a smash and grab job. But nevertheless, you would think this couldn't happen. But on the other end of that, it's so crazy when things like this happen in broad daylight. Most people just freeze.
Yeah.
They just think like, wait, I guess they're supposed to be doing that, or they don't know how to react, or, God forbid, some people think like, oh, this is probably like, I don't know, something for YouTube. And there's, this is for entertainment value.
It's like a little
So
influencer sketch.
In the Louvre, when you walk in, so I was there, and I was there just recently in the last year. And so I know this was right by Mona Lisa's exhibit. And so what I did, I was like first in line. Okay. And I got right in. And I think the museum opens at like 9. So this happened like right at museum opening. When I walked in, the first thing I did was I went to Mona Lisa, because I'm like, I'm just going.
You don't
there.
care about anything else. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm going to go. And I have the most epic pictures, like taking selfies with Mona Lisa, and there's nobody there. And if you see pictures, it's hundreds and hundreds of people deep. And so I have like the most epic pictures of me just like by myself. And like 3 minutes later, there's hundreds of people in there, but I literally ran to Mona Lisa. Well, then you go down the hallway, and that's where like all the jewels are. And it is this long, long hallway. And in it is just cases. So it's cases and cases and cases all the way down of all of these jewels. And, it's all these different like crown jewels from all these different time periods. So I know exactly where this took place. And I was thinking about it. Like, if I was there, I'd like to think that I would have acted or reacted, but I wouldn't have.
You would have took your phone out.
I literally would have been like, what is happening? Like,
no, you're right.
Totally
wow. She would have somebody would have.
And then she would have been like, Connor, Navy's not playing right now, but can you believe this? Like, I just saw this.
No, it's crazy. Like, I mean, this is a broader discussion, but it's crazy how things happen in society now, and people's instinct is not, how can I help? People's instinct is, hold on, let me get my phone.
Well, no, I would have not taken my phone out.
I'm not saying you would have done it.
That would have not been my reaction. Like, if my reaction was to take out my phone, my reaction would have been to do something. I think I would have just been so frozen by what was happening that I don't know that I would have reacted in any way. And it's just wild that they were able to. And again, they said like this was definitely like a professional.
No shit.
I'll tell you what. You watch those, like, I love the Ocean's movies, and I was just talking to my mom about the Ocean's movies recently. And you always think like, this is a great movie, but does this stuff ever really happen? And I kind of like that it happened because it kind of legitimizes those movies. But
it does.
It's almost from my perspective, it's got to be somebody who just wants to say they have Napoleon's jewels, because it's not like you're going down to the pawn shop and saying like, what do you give me for this necklace?
That's the first thing I thought.
You can't move them.
You're stealing this. What do you do with it? Because it's not like you can go put it up for auction. It's not like you can sell, like you can't. How do you make money off of this?
I have a theory.
Okay, go ahead. What's your theory?
It's his ancestors. It's his lineage, because they were kind of outcasts from French society. Napoleon had a few kids, I think. He was sent to a fucking island in exile. His family is still around. They want their shit back. And I have a theory that it's someone in his family, distant relative.
Well, if you read that article, you see that the Mona Lisa was stolen like 100 years ago, and it was stolen, and they wanted to bring it back to Italy. So again, it wasn't a money thing. It was more of like this is ours.
Ownership.
It was this ownership thing. So you may be right, or it's just going to go through some underground network of, where they can make money off of it because it's going through all these underground channels of like bad dudes, but
right.
What's your theory, Connor?
No. I think that's a perfectly reasonable thing to think. I just think it's more about being able to boast that you have his jewels. Because I also think these people, these 7 guys, they got paid to do this. I'm sure they didn't just do it for fun, because obviously if you get caught, you're going to jail. So they probably got paid handsomely, and it's got to be somebody with really deep pockets. And I think people at that point, when you have pockets that deep and money doesn't matter, it's more, again, to be able to say, like, I have this piece of jewelry that once belonged to Napoleon.
The other thing I read when I read this article that kind of made me laugh is that it's so Parisian that they escaped on mopeds. You know, it's like it just kind of and the article was like they were very, very fast. You know,
on their
whatever horse. Yeah, and I'm like, oh my god. So
I want to see that footage. Is them just like sparking a fucking cigarette on the way out, and it's like one dude holding another on the moped, right, Ryan? Like
crazy. So, yeah. Well, I hope they find it. I hope they find the.
I hope it's kind of a chase. Like maybe they end up in like Spain or I don't know, Venezuela. I don't know.
If they never get them back. I'm okay with that too.
Okay.
I don't know. Again, it's only they said they're priceless because again.
Yeah, you can't
sell them.
Well, I just feel happy that Rob and I got to see those jewels. I'm sorry you never got to see them.
I mean, I was severely hungover, and I think I just walked through that museum just to say.
But you saw them. You saw them.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I saw them.
You saw them. Connor didn't get to see them.
It's actually like the Louvre is almost really just as nice outside. That whole courtyard where you can kind of just walk and hang out. I don't know. I thought it was.
Oh yeah,
it was one of my favorite.
It's an awesome
museums.
Place.
I was the biggest dork in there taking pictures of every painting. Like,
so did you do a solo trip to Paris, or let's back up? Why were you in Paris? Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Self-discovery, Rob.
Okay. Fuck yeah. And then you went to Avalon after that.
I tell you what, I don't think I've ever taken, I've never taken like a vacation alone.
By yourself?
Yeah. I would absolutely listen. I love my wife to death, and she is an amazing planner for vacations, but like we're always doing stuff. But that's also because I'm not like, I don't like sitting on a beach for like 5 days straight. That's boring to me. I like doing a lot of different things. So like our honeymoon, we went to 7 different cities in France.
That's cool.
And
that's amazing.
That's
busy.
Was
really cool.
That's busy.
No, I mean my niece was there studying abroad. So
okay.
Okay. So you went to visit. Yeah. Okay. But but I guess what I was going to say, and then we can move on. I would love to go to a European city by myself. I could do that. You have to be a very specific type of individual, I think, to be able to travel alone, to be comfortable by yourself, to be able to strike up conversations with strangers, if not for small talk, or maybe you make friends with someone and then you're hanging out with them that night. That's not for everybody. But I would love to do that. I don't know that I would do it in Paris because I don't think Paris is, I mean, I think there are other cities that are better than Paris. Forgive me if that offends, but I don't know. I would like to go to Europe one day by myself, and I just don't see that happening anytime soon. But anyway.
Yeah, it's not.
You can't just ditch your wife.
I was going to say, bro, I was like waiting for you to just say it.
No, I can't. I can't just like, hey, I'm going to go to Europe.
Hey, babe. Yeah, Ryan and Rob said I should totally go to Europe for a week. So
I'm not saying that. No,
I'm just gonna do it.
No.
Yeah. All right. Last story here. The McDonald's CEO. His name. I didn't know who the McDonald's CEO was before I read this story, but his name is Chris Kempczynski. First of all, I pulled up the article in Fortune. This is like the greatest picture ever. I was like, wait a second. The McDonald's CEO is like 30 years old. He's like 57, but some of his he's 57, but some of his pictures.
But he looks so young.
He looks ridiculously young in some of his pictures. Now, some of his pictures show his age. So it's like, okay. But even the ones that show a little bit more age, he still looks great for 57. But that's besides the point. It came out that he eats at McDonald's 3 to 4 times per week.
Yeah.
Yes. It didn't go into detail in terms of like how much he eats or what he eats. But he's basically like, listen, like, how could you not? If you're the CEO of McDonald's, how could you not eat at McDonald's 3 to 4 times.
I mean,
a week.
that's such a why wouldn't you?
Well,
right.
I mean, yeah.
Well, here's
We all know
my
it's
first point. No. Here's my first point. Let's think about this. And I'm going to generalize here because I love to generalize and it annoys people. When you're a little kid, I think for a lot of families, like fast food is not like the norm that you have 3 meals a day or even, every day. It's kind of like a little bit of a treat that you maybe on Friday after school or something.
After soccer.
Right. Yeah. It's not something you do every day. So then you become an adult when you can do whatever you want. And in theory, if you wanted to, you could eat at McDonald's every day. Now, I don't know anybody, maybe you guys do. I don't know anybody who eats at McDonald's every day. And I can really count on one hand how many times I've been to McDonald's in the last, handful of years. Because obviously, it's just not.
I fucking love McDonald's, dude.
No, I do too.
I fucking love it.
You can count on your hand the number of times you've eaten.
Dude, I ordered it twice last week. I will.
You know why? No, but you know why? I think it's wholly with where I live. Okay. Having lived in Hoboken, working in New York City, and now in the suburbs of New Jersey, nothing against McDonald's, but there are so many better options, especially
I just love their chicken nuggets, bro.
Oh yeah, they're good.
So McDonald's,
there are so many better options than
I don't know.
Food.
I have a lot of fast food around me. McDonald's is my 1,000,000% guilty pleasure.
Yeah, it's so good.
I'll fast for 2 days and then eat a cheeseburger, small fries, and a large Diet Coke.
And their fries are they get better.
There's nothing I love more than McDonald's fries and a Diet Coke.
I will say the first thing I had to eat after my colonoscopy, after I had fasted for a day, there was McDonald's across the street from the doctor's office. I got a large fry for the ride home.
But one of the things, here's what I'll say about this. I appreciate you're the CEO of McDonald's. I appreciate that you love your product.
Same.
Yes. I love that. I think it's great. If I was the CEO of McDonald's, hands down, I would be eating at McDonald's 3 to 4 times a week.
So would you be eating the same thing 3 to 4 times a week, or would you just rotate through the menu?
I'd probably get a snack wrap every once in a while.
You brought those back, Cons. They brought back snack wraps.
Brought them back.
No, I had a snack wrap. The first time I was solo with the kids, I took Maggie to get her first Happy Meal ever, and I got myself a snack wrap for the ride home.
Yeah.
And I will say it was actually pretty awesome. I was feeding, I was reaching behind to the Maggie's car seat and giving her fries, car fries on the way home. She's like, "Dada, can I have more fries?" So she was getting.
You know what? I'm gonna, after we hang up this episode, I'm gonna get
McDonald's?
a McDonald's. Fuck it. I'm
jealous.
ready.
It's too late for us here to get McDonald's.
It's so
Dude,
good.
Speaking of Hoboken, the McDonald's in Hoboken stays open super late,
it stays late for me, but I'm not going to go to McDonald's now at 9:30 at night. But the other thing I love, the other thing that I love from McDonald's, now this is every once in a blue moon, but an Oreo McFlurry from McDonald's.
Oh yeah,
so good.
Yeah.
And here's the other thing: as a psychotic woman, I know the calorie count on every item at McDonald's. I know that a cheeseburger is 340 calories. I know French fries are 230 calories. I know I can go in and if I get a cheeseburger and fries, I'm like, all right, that's not too bad,
Mm-hmm.
Dude, my favorite when I was drinking, the next day would just be some breakfast burritos.
I don't like McDonald's breakfast. I'm only
really?
I don't ever do McDonald's breakfast.
Egg McMuffins are great.
Egg McMuffins, even their pancakes. Oh man,
never had pancake. Well, maybe I've had once, but
kudos to the McDonald's CEO.
Shout out
for believing in his product.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
believing.
I respect that. Because obviously you don't want to be the McDonald's CEO and be like, I never eat there. It's like, oh, geez, what are you hiding? What's wrong with McDonald's? But yeah, we just don't get fast food a lot. So
that's good. That's good, Connor. That's actually a really good thing.
Yeah. I'm blessed to live in an area with a lot of good mom and pop restaurants. All right, that is going to do it for our news stories. Any caveats? Anything that we missed?
Well, my only caveat is that next Monday's show, I'm hoping we can record later because I'm going to run the Marine Corps Marathon on Sunday. And I feel like I'm going to need to little more time on Monday to recover. So I'm excited.
Haven't you run a marathon before? Because haven't you run a marathon?
Yeah, this will be my 5th.
Yeah, exactly. So like you can't sit in a chair and talk?
I got to drive home from DC. I need a little more time. And
you're driving home in the morning.
Yeah. So give me a minute.
All right. So it doesn't have anything to do with that fact that you're running a marathon.
But we record at night your time anyways. It's not like.
No, we don't. We normally record at 3:30. I'm just asking for a little more time.
Oh, okay.
So we can record at night. Yeah, and I'll recap you on my marathon. So
and I saw Ryan. Yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead. I was about to ask you what you were just going to say.
Yeah, like Dave Portnoy put out, I guess Mincy ran a marathon and like he got annoyed. Yeah, and he was like, I don't want to hear about you running a marathon, And I actually put in my story and shot back at him. I'm like, less than 1% of the population has ever run a marathon. Like, let these people have their moment. Now, I get it. I think it's hilarious. I see all these memes of people. It's like the day after a marathon and they're walking into like restaurants and they're trying to like use their medal to like pay for stuff, just like spoofing. But again, I'm running with my best friend from high school. She's never run a marathon before. She's been training her butt off. And I know the sense of accomplishment when you first finish a marathon. Yeah. And I am so excited.
That's a good feeling.
Like, I'm so excited for her to cross that finish line and be like, because she started out not being like from 1 mile. Like 1 mile. And so I am really the thing I'm most excited about is watching her cross the finish line. So, so I think everyone out there who's about to run a marathon next weekend, this is marathon season. So kudos to all of you. It's an amazing accomplishment. And I think you should shout it from the rooftops if you run a marathon. And how many marathons have you run, Connor? 5?
5.
Okay.
Damn, Cons, what the fuck? I haven't run a single marathon.
One of those was in Iraq. So.
Oh, okay. Well,
it was like the same day as the Marine Corps marathon, and where we were at our fob adder. We just went back and forth. There was one.
Oh. Yeah, but why does that bother you that people want to cheer about, like, be proud and happy about running a marathon?
Well, because I agree with both sides. Because number one, I do think it's an accomplishment, and the reason I did them, the one in Iraq, that was boredom. There was nothing else to do. But the other 4 that I did was because I wanted to be able to do it and say like, oh, I've done the New York City Marathon. Oh, I've done the Austin Marathon. And that sense of accomplishment. And I do think it is a good sense of accomplishment because, to your point, when you look across the population, not a lot of people have run marathons. It feels like there's a lot of people who have done them, but not a lot of people have run marathons. 1%.
And I'm not even talking for me. I don't even congratulate me. I don't give. It's not about me running the marathon, but like, no, I'm dead serious. It's for me. It's for a person that is worked their ass off, because when you are legitimately training, I'm not legitimately trained to run this marathon. I'll be fine, but like, I'm not but when you are following this training plan and you've put months and months of training in and you accomplish it, like I'm like, let them.
I think also though, moment. Well, I think what Dave and others, and I would agree with this, the people who like make it their personality and that's all they talk about, and they want to tell you about their training and they want to tell you about their long run they did on Saturday. Like, no one cares, because here's the other side of it. Let's look at who some of those 1% are that have run a marathon. And there are some really fat, out of shape, unathletic people who have completed marathons. And listen, again, that's a good
shocking. You know, when you're on a marathon course, the most shocking thing, the first marathon I ran, I will say, being out on that course and seeing some of the people running, I'm like, what? Like, I was shocked at some of the people running the marathon. I'll just say that.
sorry, this might offend some people, but I remember before I ran New York for the first time, and I was thinking about it. I was thinking to myself, man, Oprah did this. This is gonna be easy because she did it, and she was like an older
she did
person.
it in like 4 hours and 20 minutes,
Yeah.
which is a totally legitimate time.
Well, I don't know. But let's see. Hold on. Oprah.
She did. Look it up. It's
Marathon
like
time.
4:20.
Did she train or did she just-
Actually, 4:29. That actually 4:29. That's actually a really respectable
I know.
marathon time. Yeah. 94 at the age of 40. Good for her. All right, I take back my statement about Oprah. I'm a little bit more impressed now by Oprah. No, actually, my niece is running New York City Marathon, which, you know, I don't really have much basis of comparison. I don't know what the Marine Corps Marathon is like, but the New York City, if you're interested in doing one more, you should do New York City. I mean, the streets are lined basically the entire route minus the Bronx, but you're only in the Bronx for a really small stretch. But
See,
it is one of the biggest. It is one of the biggest like day drinking, day party days in New York City, especially when the weather's nice.
Awesome.
I'll say that's probably one of my biggest things with Marine Corps. There are some insanely long stretches in Marine Corps Marathon that there's no one. And
that stinks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that
definitely
but
stinks.
The cool thing about it is we have hundreds of people, over 300 people that are running with the Travis Manning Foundation.
That's cool.
And so that's the coolest part. You're out on, and not only that, not just people running with our team, but there's so many people that just wear our shirts that they got at Heroes runs. So just seeing those people on the course.
That's
is cool.
awesome.
But I would love to do like New York City where like the streets are lined with people cheer. Cause that's how you finish a marathon. Like the crowd is like, makes it. I failed one marathon. I will tell you. So I say I ran 5 marathons. I only finished 4 because in 2020, Marine Corps Marathon went virtual. And I was like, okay, I got to run this marathon virtually. So I went out and I did this towpath that goes into New Jersey. I parked my car. I went out. I came back. And the lot where my car was, I was at like 23 and a half miles and I was running past my car and it's just me on the gravel and it's raining and it was cold and I thought my hips were going to fall off. And I looked at my car and I was just like, what am I doing? And I walked over to my car and I got in it and I drove home. And to this day, it eats me alive because but like, there was that was just it.
At least you're honest about it. That's kind of cool.
Let me ask you a question. If you just go out tomorrow, if you just go out tomorrow and you run 26.2 miles, can you say I've run a marathon? Or does it have to be an official race?
No, I don't think you can. I don't think you can say you've run a marathon if you're just like, I'm going to go run 26 miles. I mean, I guess you could say technically run marathon miles, but like, have you participated in a sanctioned marathon? No.
Okay. Yeah. Because I mean, during COVID, when there was nothing else to do, I walked with my buddy Steve. We walked from Jersey City to the George Washington Bridge and back. And that ended up being over 26 miles. So if
you just
walked it,
no, you walked like.
Well, yeah. No.
Did you run it or did you walk?
No, we walked. I mean, we had cigars.
Well then,
we were like,
okay, then no. You didn't. That you can't count that as your 6th marathon, Connor.
Well, no, that's what I would not ever say I did 6 based on that. I was just curious because it came to mind. But you talk about. Sorry, we're going deep on marathons here. But
I love it.
The energy that you get in New York City, and this is I love talking about New York City Marathon. The first one I did in 2009, I was freshly home from Iraq in June, and the marathon's first weekend in November. I'm coming down off the 59th Street Bridge, and anyone who has run the New York City Marathon knows there's no one on the 59th Street Bridge, but then you make that turn up First Ave, and First Ave is really where it gets deep on either side because also there's a lot of bars. There's a lot of people hanging out on First Ave. You feel like freaking Rocky, and you feel like you can sprint First Ave. And I would need help finding it, but there was a reporter from ABC standing at the base of First Ave off the 59th Street Bridge. And that's where I told my family, well, my parents, to like look for me. My dad was screaming so loud. So of course I saw him. I ran over, talked to him very quickly, like, or just hugged, and then like kept it moving. But because my dad was screaming so loud, the cameraman thought somebody really important was coming. So they put the camera on me. So you see me approaching my family, hug my mom, hug my dad, and then I go off. And then the reporter interviewed my dad, like, wait, who was that? And he told the story how like he just got home from Iraq.
That's
and
cool.
He was doing a lot of running
so
there.
Cool.
Yeah, no. So that was a cool memory.
That's an awesome memory. Well, I will say
good.
the coolest thing about the Marine Corps Marathon is that the Marine Corps is who works the course. So every water stop, like it's active duty Marines that are handing you water.
That's
that are lining. So that's super special. So yeah.
And also with that one, you see a lot of dudes and gals in uniform, in boots, with like rucksacks doing that one. It's like, hey, this wasn't hard enough as it is, so it's just.
Can you ruck it? Can you ruck it? I
rucked it in 2019 with a 20-pound plate.
Oh shit, that's right. You were saying that on the last episode.
Yeah.
Do you have to qualify for the Marine Corps Marathon if you run it, like you do with New York or these other ones?
No.
You don't have to qualify for New York.
And Marine Corps is called the People's Marathon. Like anybody can run.
Okay.
Now you have to keep it a certain pace, so you'll get picked up by like straggler buses. You know, if you don't make it to
how many people run Marine Corps Marathon?
So typically it's about 25,000. I think last year was like 22,000. This year it's 40,000.
Oh shit!
Yeah, because New York City is like 50,000.
Yeah, this year's the 50th anniversary of Marine Corps Marathon, and obviously 250th anniversary of the Marine Corps. So, so this is a big year. So, yeah,
cool.
Anyway, that's it.
Marathons. Rob, any caveats?
No, I was just gonna say I'm gonna get some McDonald's after this, and the
what
marathon.
Are you gonna get?
I'm gonna get 20-piece chicken nuggets for me and my son, sweet and sour sauce, some large French fries, ketchup, and a Powerade. I love something about the Powerade.
Powerade, that is the most random thing I've ever heard.
I love it. I love Powerade,
dude.
So
and then I'm gonna go, maybe run 10 miles tomorrow and do some legs. So I'll sweat it out.
Okay, I mean that's fine. That's interesting. I do love the chicken nuggets. If I were going right now, I'd definitely get a milkshake. Like it's not the best milkshake in the world, but for some reason I love McDonald's milkshakes. It's like it's like the perfect consistency. It's like not thick, but it's also not really too thin. I don't know.
I agree.
It's weirdly good.
Yeah.
And also, if you guys have watched the movie The Founder with Michael Keaton?
Yes.
No.
Oh, all right.
Watch it, Ryan. Watch it tonight.
Watch it. If you love McDonald's, watch it. It's very, very good.
Come on.
All right, I'll go watch it. That's what I'm going to do right now.
It's very good. Okay. All right. My only caveat, we were talking about, people not doing things the way that they always have, just because that's just how we've always done it. I want to give a shout out to Secretary of the Army, Dan Driscoll. He gave an interview at AUSA, and his background, I mean, he was in the Army, but he worked in Silicon Valley. He's worked in finance. And he's like, we're going to take a different approach to how we're doing the Army, basically, in so many words. He's like, the way things are done in Silicon Valley, where, we incorporate tech smartly into our operations. We're not going to just buy stuff for the sake of buying it, but we're going to incorporate tech and we're going to do things smarter. So I appreciate his approach to looking for new ways to do things, because I'm sorry, and, not to disparage his predecessor, but 3 years in a row, I went to AUSA and I heard Secretary Wormuth spout the same problems that the Army has been facing. And 3 years in a row, it's like, wait, your problems haven't changed for 3 years. So what does that tell you? That you're not doing anything to fix them, right? In theory, right? So I just like that he's said, hey, we're gonna try things differently. And the idea that procurement has been a roadblock for so many, great companies in the past. We're going to get rid of that, or maybe not get rid of it, but we're going to ease that burden so that more great companies can support the Army. And I just really appreciate that he's taken a different approach to how.
Yeah, kind of on that note too. I'm in tech. Like the reason why someone like Secretary Driscoll was successful in the corporate tech world is because he was able to cut through the noise and dial back on bureaucracy, right? And so like he's trying to bring some of that over to the Army, and I love it. And just like making decision making quicker, more optimized. I mean, that's how the world's going anyways. Like, why can't the Army be going in that direction too?
Yeah.
I hear awesome things about him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, I like, not that age should be a factor, but he's like on the younger side.
Yeah.
So I don't know. And by that, I mean, like, he's not as far removed from his time serving. I mean, it's a very different army from the army that he served in, but it's not like he served in the 80s and now he's a secretary. So I like that he's taking a fresh approach to things. Last thing, sorry, but I got in some, I don't remember when this was. I annoyed some people. Oh, maybe it was the Thursday night game when the Eagles played the Giants and they did the tush push like 4 times in a row, and people were crying about the tush push, and I was like, stop it, then. Like, and they're like, oh yeah, they're going off sides, or they're false starting every play. It's like, well, okay, if we slow down the game and watch it in super slow mo, there are a ton of penalties that are missed when you watch it at that speed. But when plays are bang bang, they're not necessarily penalties. But also, more so than the penalty aspect, I don't like that people are like, well, it's not football. It's like, yes, it is. It's not entertaining. I don't know. I find it very entertaining that 11 dudes are just lining up and saying, stop us. And they're imposing their will on other teams. So you'll never hear me say bad things about the tush push.
Connor, that's the most intelligent thing you've ever said on this show the entire time I've been on it with you. I just want you to know that. I'm really proud of you. And that's amazing.
I can't, and maybe I'm biased because, the style of play that Army plays and, kind of smash mouth and hey, we're just going to line up. Maybe having watched that now, and I think that's fun. I think imposing your will, like, why? How is that not fun? It's like there's nothing better.
Fun.
Isn't that how the sport was designed too? Like,
but people are arguing now that, like, well, no, the sport is now designed.
It's too much like rugby. They say all sorts of things. And listen, the fact of the matter is
more scoring and more passing. The game goes in cycles and ebbs and flows, and I don't think this is, it's not like they're running it every play. Like, they ran it 4 times in a row because it works.
Yeah,
like,
and
the object of the game is to put the ball in the end zone by any means necessary under the rules. I have no problem. And there is nothing better than getting to 4th down and a defense thinking, okay, we're either going to get off the field because they're going to punt. Oh, wait, they're going to go for it. All right, we'll stop them, get off the field. And then they don't get off the field because the team gets the first down. That's amazing. Yeah. So if you don't like the tush push, I don't know what to tell you. You're a geek. Take care.
Agreed.
Make it a great week.